Hello everyone, this is Jenny with Ayurveda for Veterans. I'm a self-care coach and an Ayurvedic health counselor in training. Today, I want to congratulate you for taking the first steps into your self-care journey. I'd like to talk to you about what Ayurveda is and how to identify your unique energy. Today, we're going to understand what Ayurveda is, where it originated from. We're going to understand the 5 elements and their effects on the body. We're going to understand your unique energy, and we're going to bring awareness to the body. It teaches you the art of daily living that is rooted in philosophical and in a spiritual nature. It's a sacred science used to discover your elemental structure and find balance within the universe. There are 8 medical branches. Some examples are psychiatry, internal medicine, toxicology, and rejuvenation. It's a highly practiced medical system in India. It's the oldest natural medical science that is over 5,000 years old. So let's take a moment, close our eyes, and let's think about what it was like 5,000 years ago, before the pyramids, before the Bible. There was just herbs, humanity, nature, animals. There was no modern conveniences. There was no stores. There was no MRI machine. There was no x-rays. Ayurveda was passed down and taught so you can understand your body. So Ayurveda is based off the Shad Darshan, which transliterates to the 6 philosophies. The 6 philosophies are based off of the understanding of our world, the reasoning and cause and effect, and the difference between right and wrong. And the other half of the 6 philosophies are about understanding your internal world. And it's more about the internal transformation. So out of the Shad Darshan, the 6 philosophies, comes the Sankhya philosophy. The Sankhya philosophy is the journey of consciousness into matter. Here you can see in the picture the journey of consciousness into matter. It is the inorganic substances of the universe, and it explains how they become organic. Basically, something created from nothing. Why we exist, a creation story. So the journey of consciousness into matter starts with Purusha. Purusha is the ultimate truth, pure consciousness, pure healing. This energy is met with Prakruti, primordial will. This primordial will, this kinetic type of energy, moves with Purusha, this potential energy, and starts to create an intelligence. This intelligence is created in the Mahad. The Mahad is the supreme intelligence. We can think of it as the higher self. And the Buddhi is more of an intellectual or individual type of intellect. It's more of a reasoning and individual awareness. This supreme intellect moves down into the ahamkara, which is the ego. It develops a sense of self in the world. This ahamkara, this ego, has created the 3 universal types of energy, which is sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva is pure consciousness and potential energy, and it's more dealt with faculties of the mind, things that you cannot perceive or that are inorganic. You can't touch or hold them. Tamas is the inert energy. It's darkness, it's confusion, but it's also solid material. It's matter. So out of sattva, rajas, tamas, all things are made. Sattva, rajas, and tamas create the 5 elements. Here you can see that sattva is, because it is more dealt with the inorganic material, it's going to deal with the faculties of the mind, the faculties of perception. Here we have the sense faculties of hearing, touch, vision, taste, and smell. And the faculties of action, speech, grasping, walking, procreation, and elimination. And then we have the faculties of the mind, cognition and action. So within inorganic material, let's just say sattvas are like our thoughts. It's our perception of the world, what we hear, the act of hearing, the act of the sound traveling into our ears, going into our mind, and us hearing and perceiving what was heard or what was said, what made the sound. Same thing with vision. Our eyes are perceiving what we see through the physicalness of our eyes, the cones and the rods. Without these energies, we wouldn't be able to interact with our environment. We wouldn't be able to bring this inorganic energy that is in between the internal and external world. So I think that's very interesting that Ayurveda talks about the journey of consciousness into matter, and it also acknowledges that this energy is within you. It's within all of us. It's within the trees and the plants and the animals. So it's a very beautiful way to understand how we were formed and created. So here we see the creation of the 5 elements. We have the unmanifested state of consciousness, which is the Purusha and the Prakriti. Then we have God, which is the supreme intellect, the intelligence, and the Ahamkara. And then out of the Ahamkara, the Sattvas, Rajas, and Tamas, the 3 universal energies creating the sound Om, and together making the 5 elements, ether in action becoming air, the movement of air becoming friction and light, the light becoming fire, and the fire starting to dissolve and liquefy, turning into water. The water solidified and earth began. Once there was earth, all things were made, all humans, plants, animals. So I really enjoy this creation story. And so now we're going to talk about the 5 elements and the 3 doshas. So the 5 elements, as we discussed, are earth, air, ether or space, fire, and water. I love the way Ayurveda explains what a dosha is. A dosha is described as a mistake or a fault. It is basically something that we're born with, and within the right properties, we will be in balance. But whenever these qualities become either too much or too little, these doshas become imbalanced and cause disease. So a dosha is a fault, is something causing it to increase, decrease, something causing it to become abnormal. So when we look at doshas, we want to be aware that doshas are everywhere, but don't let it overwhelm you. The doshas here are basically the 5 elements grouped together. So it's all of the 5 elements, pitta being fire and water, vata, space and air, kapha, earth and water. And each of these doshas have qualities and characteristics that create or can cause balance or imbalance within us. So it is very good to become aware of the doshas. Ayurvedic principles are based off the doshas and the 5 elements. So becoming aware of these qualities, and we can see here that ether, or in Sanskrit, akasha, light, subtle, soft, these qualities make up the ether element. The qualities of air, or vayu, mobile, rough, dry, light, cold, subtle. Water, or apa, liquid, oily, slimy, heavy, cold, or dull. Earth, or prithvi, static, dense, hard, heavy, or dull. Fire, or agni, hot, sharp, light, dry, subtle. These 5 elements and qualities are the main principles of Ayurveda, and getting to know and seeing these everywhere in our environment, in the physical realm, in the inorganic realm. For instance, someone can be rough when they speak, and we can feel that subtly in our emotional or mental bodies. So once we start looking at the individual elements and each of their qualities, we can see how they fit in with the doshas and how their qualities are affected and make our energies, and how these energies affect us every day. I'm sure right now you're looking around and you're starting to identify some of the qualities right now in the room. Or you may think that you see the 5 elements every day, and you see these qualities every day. You see them in your food. You maybe like spicy food, hot food that's sharp, or dry food like crackers. That's a pitta. Or vata, that's fire, that's air. Some people like being in the cold, or some people have cold tendencies, that's also vata, or air, and water qualities. So within recognizing the doshas and the 5 elements in your daily life will help you build upon the principles of Ayurveda and helping to maintain and find balance. The 5 elements and the 3 doshas are everywhere. Ayurveda understands the cycles of nature, the cycles of our body, the cycles of life. So when you see the doshas, understand that fire and water are primary principles of life. Space and air are primary principles of life. Earth and water are primary principles of life. Nothing is all in isolation. It all coexists within the 3 doshas. It's just a balance of particles or atoms. Who has more pitta, who has more vata, what has more kapha, and it can be put into perspective into anything that you're going through in life. These qualities, you can find balance by knowing and understanding life, and knowing what to do to balance a very stressful time in your life can help you out in the long run, maybe prevent you from having a heart attack or prevent you from further worsening any type of ailment that you already have or an imbalance, something that's going to set you over the edge. Ayurveda is about identifying these 5 elements and the 3 doshas so we can counterbalance and bring back homeostasis so our higher intelligence can take over and heal ourselves. It's honestly that simple. So with the cycles of life, with the cycles of our cells, with the cycles of nature, with the cycles of our climate and the earth, Ayurveda recognizes the doshas and elements in everything. So the doshas reign over the cycles of our life. And as we see here, we have kapha, which is earth and water, very dense, static, a baby. It is a time for building tissues for growth. We associate kapha with growth, and it is between birth and the age of 13. And if we can reflect of our own growth, we can see the kapha elements there. We're pretty resilient. We're pretty strong. I mean, kids get sick a lot, and they're building defenses. They're building their immune system. They're building tissues. They're building, their egos, their mind, their emotional bodies, their mental bodies, their physical bodies, everything that embodies kapha is between birth and 13 years. From 13 to 50, we move into our pitta years of life. So you may think at this time we're working really hard, we're striving for our goals, we're finding ourselves, we're standing in the world and we're like, hey, this is me, this is who I am, I'm here. We're fiery. And during this time that we're burning for our desires, for our goals, for our sole purpose, it's easy for us to create imbalances because we're already on fire. And we're not as resilient as we were from, birth to 13. So, we may start to experience a little bit of imbalance here from 13 to 50 years old. And then we reach the vata time of life, which is 50 until we die. We experience a lot of drying. Our bodies physically, in the elderly, the wrinkling of the skin, the degeneration of the spine and the bones, osteoporosis, and the disc, things just tend to dry out. And we're, cold all the time. And it's rough. Our skin, our hair, things tend to dry out during this time period. So during this time, any vata imbalances will progress even more because it is already in our vata time of life. So here we see the doshas within the cycles of our life. By identifying the doshas within our bodies and applying it to the cycle of life that we're in now, we can then go outward and look at the doshas that are in our environment and how they're affecting us internally and within our life cycle. So here you see the doshas represented within the seasons. You can see that kapha is very relatable to spring. It is dense, slimy, there's a lot of growth. And within the summertime, we move into the Pitta season. It's hot, humid, sharp, light, oily. Then from the summer, we may move into the fall, which is Vata, dry, light, cold, and rough. We can see that all of these qualities within our climate are unique, and it matters, specifically where we live. You know, you may be stationed on an island, somewhere tropic, and then you move somewhere that's really cold. You're going to feel that imbalance. You're going to feel like, wow, you know, it's no longer hot, humid, sharp, and light. Now it's dry, light, cold, and rough. And your skin will feel it. Your hair's going to feel it. You're going to feel the changes in your environment. It's just normal. It's natural. Ayurveda helps you explain those changes. It helps you explain those imbalances. So whenever you identify what's happening within your environment, these qualities, you can see what's going to be imbalanced. So within Ayurveda, there is a universal law, and that is that the same qualities, the like qualities, will increase the dosha. So if you have a quality like hot and an opposite like cold, you will create balance. You'll start to shift those energies back into balance, back into zero. So you can go back to your baseline and you're not feeling that tip of the scale anymore. You're not feeling that burning heartburn sensation because you applied a remedy to fix that. So you're just sitting on a beach, you're sitting on a hot beach and you're eating spicy Mexican food, and all of a sudden you start getting hotter. Then you start drinking sour, spicy margaritas and you just keep getting hotter and hotter, and then you get dehydrated. You've created an imbalance in your body. And the way to create balance is to apply the opposite. So apply cool foods, a cool environment. Let's apply the opposite to bring balance. Instead of eating spicy hot foods, let's eat cool foods like watermelon or cucumbers. Let's bring you in the shade. Let's get you drinks that are going to nourish the body and give it hydration, like coconut water. These principles are the foundation of Ayurveda. If you can understand that alike qualities will increase and cause an imbalance, and opposite qualities will start to create a balance. So understanding the energies within you that have created you, and within your environment, within nature, within the weather, within the people you're around, within your environment. So now we're going to take a look inside the body. So we talked about our external environment. We've talked about the qualities of the doshas that can make us. Then we've applied those qualities to the cycles of our life. Then we looked even farther and we looked to our environment and recognized the doshas within our environment. Now we're going to take a look at the doshas within the body. So Kapha is the building blocks of our body. It's the tissue, it's the bones. It creates lubrication for the joints. It moisturizes the skin. Vata is seen within movement, within the body. It is the air, the transfer of nutrients and waste. Anything that governs movement is Vata. Pitta inside the body is mostly seen within digestion. It is the fire. It transforms food into nutrients and waste. We can see that each tissue, each organ has kapha. Each function of the organ or cell is vata. The transformation that the cell undergoes is pitta. Everything within us and around us are the doshas. Kapha, earth and water. Vata, ether and air. Pitta, fire and water. So how do we interact with the three doshas and the 5 elements? So just like in Sankhya philosophy, the faculties of the senses, we can see that we use the 5 senses to digest, absorb, and throw out or waste everything we take in. Our 5 senses take in the information, then it digests what we just took in, and it absorbs all of that energy, and then we create waste. The 5 senses are the layers of consciousness within the body. So here you can see that man is driven by the senses. It's okay. We're all human beings. So it's normal to be captivated by our senses, by things that attract our senses, by things that take over our senses. But knowing and seeing that our senses are being overtaken and creating that awareness can help you redirect that energy so it's not harming you or causing any self-destruction. So the 5 senses are the layers of consciousness, how we take in our environment. We're going to start with the horses. The horses are guiding the chariot. And the horses represent the 5 senses. We have sight, taste, smell, touch, and sound. These senses guide us throughout our world. And these senses are connected to our brains, to our minds. So the senses are connected to our conscious mind. The conscious mind has the identity ego, which is our unconscious mind, the things that have shaped us in some ways or form that we're not aware of, but drives our actions. And it's also set by our mindset. How do we talk to ourselves? How do we get ourselves out of the rut? How do we motivate ourselves? Our senses are connected to that brain, to this reptilian brain. And that is represented as the reins. So our unconscious mind and our mindset are controlling our senses. And then we often forget who is in control of our senses. So here in the picture, you can see the conscious mind or the reins are held by the drivers. And here we have 2 drivers. You have the intellect driver, the one that is seated in the body and, the ego, the I'm driving. Or do you have the higher self, who is your passenger, that is taking the back seat? Your ego may think that these things are good for you, or some of the things that you're giving to your senses are not self-destructive. But if we connect with our higher selves, and allow them to lead us and drive us. We can direct our senses in a more healthier way. So Ayurveda understands that the five senses are the way we connect to our environment. And creating awareness around your environment, around your senses, will help you determine and discern what is good for you and what isn't. So keeping in mind those qualities of the doshas and understanding that like increases like, and the opposite will create balance or a decrease. So knowing all of this, you have the power to change your life and transform your health, and in ways that can benefit you, if we allow our higher selves to take the reins. Ayurveda recognizes your unique constitution, your energetic body. It is something that is unique to you, and that makes you an individual. I'm sure you heard the term snowflake. Well, guess what? Just like our fingerprints are different and snowflakes are different, our bodies are different. We may have a lot of similarities, but just as you may have noticed, just like with any drugs or like the COVID vaccine, not everybody's going to react the same. Not everyone is the same. You know, we can't just say it's a one size fits all, whenever it's not. And Ayurveda understands that. Ayurveda understands that you have a unique genetic makeup that makes you special and unique. And this is the combination of the three doshas. And there are 7 types. You can either be Vata, Pitta, Kapha. You can be a combination of the two, of Pitta, Vata, Vata, Kapha, Kapha, Pitta, or you can be all 3. We all have these combinations within us, and there's a specific level and measurement of each dosha that makes us unique. Just like Powerpuff Girls, you know, sugar, spice, everything nice makes the Powerpuff Girls, but you know, it's Pitta, Vata, and Kapha. So your Prakriti is a unique combination of the 3 doshas that make up the individual. It really is very special because you can learn more about you, and you can learn how to help yourself in ways that you never thought you could. So understanding that you were born with this unique energy combination can help you determine how to fix imbalances and understand yourself and your body more. So we have your Prakriti. Ayurveda also recognizes your Vikruti, which is the current imbalanced state of the individual. So your Vikruti is your lifestyle. You have your Prakriti, which is you're born this way. Like, baby, I was born this way. And then you have your Vikruti, which is your lifestyle. So the way you were born and your lifestyle can create an imbalanced state within yourself, because you have that tamasic energy, that ignorance, that confusion, that blindness, the darkness, that you don't know that about yourself. And you're unknowingly causing harm to your body, to those cells, and to your life force energy, to that prana, that vitality. So knowing your Prakriti, the energy that makes you, and then your Vikruti, the current imbalanced state due to your lifestyle choices, will help you become more aware of how you can create and transform your life into a more sattvic, more pure, righteous, and healing way of life. So Take a moment and determine, what are you giving your senses? What content are you looking at? Are you hearing? What foods are you eating? Do you feel? What textures are you giving your body or your mind? What are the type of people are you around? Are they sharp? Are they intelligent? Are they dull? Are they anxious? What is your environment? Take a moment and think about what you're giving your senses the most. What do you wake up and look at right away? Is it your phone? Is it a book? Are you meditating? Are you looking at a computer screen? Are you at work right away? What are you eating first thing in the morning for breakfast? Are you eating a hamburger, French fries? Are you eating zebra cakes and coffee? Are you eating a veggie omelet? Oatmeal? Maybe some fruit? What kind of people are you around? Are they kind? Are they nice? Are they intelligent? Are they anxious? Are they sharp? Do they seem confused or depressed? Once you start identifying what you're giving your senses, you can start allowing some awareness to come in and allow your higher self to take over and help you make decisions that are going to be helpful to your health and well-being. Thank you so much for watching. Please join the Facebook group at Ayurveda for Veterans to have access to more self-care content.